Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How often do you tell people about your problems? How often do you share your struggles, hoping for comfort, advice, or even just someone to listen? We've all done it. We've all vented our frustrations, thinking that by speaking them out loud, we might find relief. But today, I want you to rethink this habit. Because the truth is, not everyone needs to know your struggles. Most people will listen to your problems out of politeness, but they will rarely provide a real solution. When you open up about your struggles, you might expect sympathy, guidance, or even a helping hand. But in reality, what you often get is a brief moment of concern followed by people moving on with their own lives. It's important to understand that while people may care on the surface, they are not responsible for fixing your situation. Everyone has their own burdens, their own struggles, and their own priorities. When you repeatedly share your problems, hoping for support, you may find yourself feeling even more frustrated when nothing changes. That's because talking about a problem does not make it disappear, action does. The more you dwell on your difficulties and share them with others, the more you reinforce them in your mind. Your words shape your reality. If you constantly talk about hardship, pain, and struggle, your brain begins to accept these as permanent states. Instead of focusing on overcoming challenges, you get stuck in the mindset of identifying with them. You don't need to tell people how hard things are. You need to tell yourself that you are capable of overcoming them. Another important truth is that not everyone has good intentions. Some people listen just to have something to talk about behind your back. Others might pretend to care, but deep down they take satisfaction in seeing someone else struggle. The world is not filled with people who genuinely want to lift you up. This is why you must guard your words carefully. You might think you're confiding in a friend, but in reality, you could be giving ammunition to someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart. True strength is built in silence. The most resilient people are not the ones who cry out for help at every setback. They are the ones who endure, reflect, and quietly find solutions. When you stop telling everyone about your problems and instead work on fixing them behind the scenes, you develop inner strength. There is power in knowing that you don't need the validation or sympathy of others to move forward. The greatest transformations happen when no one is watching. It's also important to recognize that your problems do not define you. What defines you is how you handle them. If you constantly share your difficulties, you make them part of your identity. Instead of being seen as strong and capable, you become known as someone who always struggles. That is not the legacy you want to build. You are not your problems, you are your ability to rise above them. Complaining about problems is easy. Finding solutions takes effort. Many people fall into the trap of constantly talking about what's wrong, but few take real steps to make things right. Instead of wasting energy on conversations that do nothing to change your situation, redirect that energy into action. Ask yourself, what can I do today to improve my circumstances? How can I take even a small step toward progress? That mindset shift alone will change everything. This does not mean you should never talk about your struggles, but you must be selective about who you share them with. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerabilities. Seek out people who can truly help, mentors, advisors, or those with wisdom and experience. But avoid turning your struggles into public discussions. The more people know, the more opinions you invite, and not all advice is helpful. Emotional independence is one of the greatest forms of strength. Relying on others to validate your feelings can weaken you over time. The more you seek external reassurance, the more dependent you become on people's opinions and responses. But when you develop the ability to process emotions on your own, you gain control over your life. You realize that you don't need constant encouragement, you just need determination and faith in yourself. Your reputation is also at stake. If you're always the person bringing negativity into conversations, people will begin to associate you with complaints rather than solutions. Over time, this can affect your personal and professional relationships. No one wants to be around someone who drains their energy. But when you become a person of strength, resilience, and quiet determination, you attract people who respect and admire you. Instead of seeking solutions from random people, turn to the best sources of wisdom, God, self-reflection, and personal growth. When you take time to be still, to think deeply, and to seek guidance through faith, you will find the answers you need. The most valuable insights come from within, not from external noise. The key to success and peace is learning to control your voice. Instead of speaking about problems, speak about progress. Instead of sharing struggles, share solutions. Instead of dwelling on negativity, focus on growth. You do not need to announce your hardships to the world. Your resilience and success will speak for themselves. When you master this mindset, you will find a new level of strength and clarity. Keep your struggles private, work on your solutions silently, and let your results make the noise. Where focus goes, energy flows. The things you constantly talk about and think about are the things that will dominate your life. If you are always speaking about your struggles, your hardships, and your difficulties, you are feeding them power. You are allowing them to take up space in your mind, reinforcing them as part of your reality. What you focus on expands. And if you focus on problems, they will only grow larger. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who constantly talks about the same struggles over and over again? Every conversation revolves around how difficult their life is, how unfair things are, or how they just can't catch a break. What happens? They stay stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same problems year after year. Why? Because their words have cemented their reality. Instead of looking for solutions, they are reinforcing the idea that they are trapped. Your words are powerful. They are not just sounds, they are declarations. Every time you say, I'm struggling, nothing ever works out for me, or life is so unfair, you are programming your subconscious mind to believe it. And when your mind believes something, it starts looking for proof to confirm it. You begin noticing only the obstacles, the setbacks, and the difficulties. Your brain filters out opportunities, solutions, and possibilities because it is focused on proving what you have been saying all along, that life is hard, that things don't work, and that you are stuck. On the other hand, when you shift your focus and change your words, your reality changes. If instead of saying, I'm stuck, you say, I'm learning and growing, your brain starts looking for ways to make that true. If instead of saying, I have so many problems, you say, I'm figuring out solutions, your mind begins searching for answers. When you speak power into your life, you start seeing things differently. You begin to realize that your circumstances are not permanent and that you have control over how you respond to them. This is why it is so important to be mindful of the words you use, both in your thoughts and in your conversations. When you repeatedly talk about struggles, you are reinforcing a victim mentality. You are telling yourself and others that you are powerless, that your problems define you, and that there is no way out. But the truth is, you are never powerless. You are always in control of your mindset, your actions, and your perspective. And when you take responsibility for your words, you take responsibility for your life. People who are successful, fulfilled, and strong do not waste time talking about problems. They talk about solutions. They talk about growth. They talk about possibilities. They do not let negative situations dictate their reality because they understand that what they focus on expands. They know that every word they speak is shaping their future, so they choose their words wisely. This does not mean you should ignore your struggles or pretend everything is perfect. It simply means you should not give them more energy than necessary. Acknowledge them, learn from them, and then move forward. Do not dwell on them. Do not repeat them. And do not allow them to become the center of your conversations. When you do this, you take back your power. You shift from being someone who talks about struggles to someone who overcomes them. It is also important to recognize that people are drawn to confidence and positivity. If you constantly speak about your problems, you create an energy of negativity around you. Over time, people start to see you as someone who always has issues, someone who drains conversations instead of uplifting them. But when you focus on growth, solutions, and progress, you attract people who are on the same path. You build relationships with those who inspire and challenge you to be better. This is why the most successful people surround themselves with other successful people. They do not waste time in circles of negativity where everyone is just complaining about their problems. They invest their energy in conversations that help them grow, push them forward, and challenge them to think differently. If you want to change your life, start by changing your words. Stop speaking about problems as if they are permanent. Stop giving energy to struggles that do not define you. Instead, start focusing on what you can do, what you can change, and how you can grow. Shift your mindset from victim to victor. Speak about progress, not setbacks. Speak about lessons, not failures. Speak about solutions, not problems. When you make this shift, you will begin to notice something incredible. Your life will start to change. Your mind will begin focusing on opportunities instead of obstacles. You will start seeing ways to move forward instead of reasons to stay stuck. And most importantly, you will develop the kind of strength and resilience that makes you unstoppable. Remember, what you speak about, you bring about. Choose your words wisely because they are shaping the life you are living. Not everyone genuinely cares about your problems. This is a difficult truth to accept, but it is a necessary one. When you openly share your struggles, you might think you are gaining support, but in reality, most people are not deeply invested in your situation. They may listen out of politeness, but once the conversation ends, they move on with their lives. The weight of your problem still rests on your shoulders, not theirs. This is why constantly talking about your problems does not help you. Instead of lightening your burden, it often makes it heavier. You repeat the same story over and over again, reinforcing it in your mind and keeping yourself trapped in a cycle of frustration. The more you talk about what is wrong, the more power you give to those struggles. Your mind begins to identify with them, making it harder to see a way out. The truth is, most people are too preoccupied with their own challenges to deeply care about yours. They have their own battles, their own fears, and their own responsibilities. Even those who listen with genuine concern can only offer temporary comfort. They cannot solve your problems for you. That responsibility falls on you alone. Some people may even take advantage of your vulnerability. Not everyone listens to offer support. Some listen out of curiosity, some listen to judge, and some listen to use your struggles against you. The more you expose your difficulties to the wrong people, the more you risk being misunderstood, criticized, or even manipulated. There are individuals who thrive on the failures of others. And by sharing too much, you give them an opportunity to use your struggles as gossip or even as a weapon. Your energy is valuable. Every time you talk about a problem, you are investing energy into it. If you keep reliving your struggles through conversation, you are feeding them. But when you shift that energy toward solutions, you start to break free. Instead of discussing what is wrong, start asking yourself what you can do to make it right. Instead of complaining about how hard things are, focus on what you can learn from the challenge. The strongest people are not those who share their difficulties with everyone. They are those who work through them quietly, learning and growing along the way. They understand that life's hardships are not meant to be broadcasted to the world, but rather used as stepping stones toward growth. They do not seek validation or sympathy from others because they know their strength comes from within. This does not mean you should never seek guidance or support, but you must be intentional about who you turn to. Not everyone deserves access to your struggles. Choose mentors, trusted friends, or wise individuals who can genuinely help you move forward. These are the people who will offer real advice, not just empty words of sympathy. When you stop talking about your problems and start focusing on solutions, your entire perspective shifts. Instead of feeling powerless, you start to realize that you have control. You are no longer waiting for someone to rescue you or offer reassurance. You are taking charge of your own life, making decisions that lead to progress rather than remaining stuck in frustration. Your reputation is also at stake. If you are always seen as the person who complains, struggles, and seeks constant reassurance, people will begin to associate you with negativity. But when you carry yourself with quiet strength, people respect you. They see you as someone who handles challenges with grace and resilience. This makes a difference in every aspect of life, whether in friendships, relationships, or professional environments. The way you handle your struggles also sets an example for others. When people see you overcoming difficulties without constantly talking about them, they are inspired by your strength. They respect your ability to navigate hardships without making them the center of your identity. You become someone others look up to, not because you never face challenges, but because of how you handle them. Another important factor is emotional independence. If you rely on others to validate your struggles, you become dependent on external support. But when you learn to process challenges on your own, you build inner strength. You realize that you do not need constant reassurance to keep going. You develop the ability to face difficulties head on, knowing that your resilience is enough to carry you through. Faith and self-reflection are more powerful tools than seeking external validation. When you take time to be still, to reflect, and to seek wisdom from within, you gain clarity. Instead of broadcasting your struggles, you can use them as opportunities to grow spiritually and mentally. Some of the most profound answers come not from the voices of others, but from quiet moments of introspection. At the end of the day, your problems do not define you, your actions do. What matters is not how many people know about your struggles, but how you choose to respond to them. You can either let them consume you, or you can rise above them. You can either talk about them endlessly, or you can take steps to overcome them. The choice is yours. Keep your struggles private, focus on your growth, and let your success speak for itself. The less you talk about your problems, the more time and energy you have to actually solve them. And when you do, you will find yourself stronger, wiser, and more in control of your life than ever before. Your words shape the perception others have of you. Every time you share your problems openly, you are crafting a version of yourself in the minds of others, one that is struggling, burdened, and possibly even incapable. People remember what you repeatedly tell them. And if you constantly talk about your difficulties, that becomes the image they associate with you. Instead of seeing you as someone strong and resourceful, they begin to see you as someone who is always dealing with issues, someone who is defined by their problems rather than their strengths. This is why it is important to be mindful of what you share and with whom. When you consistently speak about your struggles, you give others permission to label you based on those struggles. Over time, they may start to view you as weak or unable to handle life's challenges, even if that is not truly who you are. This can affect the way they treat you, the opportunities they offer you, and the respect they give you. In personal relationships, people may start to feel burdened by your problems, and in professional environments, you might be seen as someone who is unreliable or constantly distracted by personal issues. It is not that you should never discuss challenges, but you must be intentional about it. Choose to share only when necessary with people who have the wisdom to offer constructive solutions rather than just sympathy. Talking about problems with the wrong people only spreads negativity, fuels gossip, and can lead to unnecessary judgment. Some people listen only to pass information along to others, twisting your words in ways that you never intended. They do not see your vulnerability as an opportunity to help. They see it as something to exploit or criticize. When you keep your struggles private, you retain control over your personal narrative. You decide how you are perceived, and you protect your energy from unnecessary negativity. The fewer people who know about your difficulties, the fewer opinions you have to deal with. This allows you to focus on actual solutions rather than becoming distracted by external judgments or advice that may not serve you. The truth is, people respect those who carry their burdens quietly and handle their struggles with grace. When you deal with problems on your own or with a small trusted circle, you demonstrate strength and resilience. You show that you do not need constant validation or sympathy to keep moving forward. This builds a reputation of quiet confidence, and people admire that. They see you as someone who can handle life's difficulties without making excuses or seeking attention. There is also a psychological impact to consider. The more you talk about a problem, the bigger it feels. Every time you tell the story of your struggles, you are reinforcing it in your mind. You are keeping it alive, giving it more power over you. Instead of allowing yourself to move on, you are reliving the difficulty again and again. This creates a cycle where your problems seem never ending, even when solutions are available. A better approach is to redirect your focus. Instead of speaking about what is wrong, put your energy into working toward what is right. Shift your mindset from complaining to problem solving. When you stop talking about difficulties and start acting on solutions, you begin to feel a sense of control. You no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances. You feel like someone who has the power to change them. This shift also influences the way others see you. When people notice that you are not dwelling on struggles but are actively working to overcome them, they gain respect for you. You become someone who takes action instead of seeking attention. And when you do succeed, your success speaks for itself. There is no need to announce every challenge along the way because the results will be visible to everyone. Another benefit of maintaining privacy about your problems is that it protects your emotional well-being. When you share your struggles with too many people, you expose yourself to their opinions, judgments, and sometimes even their negativity. Not everyone will offer encouragement. Some will downplay your challenges, making you feel invalidated. Others may add to your stress by giving unhelpful or discouraging advice. And some may even take pleasure in your difficulties, pretending to care while secretly hoping to see you struggle. By keeping your struggles to yourself, you filter out unnecessary negativity. You create a space where you can process your emotions without outside interference. You give yourself the time and mental clarity to work through your problems in a healthy way, rather than being influenced by the doubts, fears, or agendas of others. There is also a spiritual aspect to this. When you keep your struggles between you and God, you develop a deeper sense of faith and reliance on inner strength. Instead of seeking validation from people, you seek wisdom from within. You find comfort in knowing that you are not alone in your journey, even if you are not discussing it with others. Some of the greatest lessons in life are learned in silence, in moments of deep reflection and personal growth. You do not need the world to validate your struggles. You do not need to broadcast your hardships to feel understood. What you need is to believe in your own ability to overcome. You need to trust yourself, take action, and move forward with determination. The less you talk about your problems, the more energy you have to solve them. The more you focus on growth, the faster you will rise above challenges. People will always form opinions, but you control the story they see. Let them see your strength, not your struggles. Let them witness your victories, not your complaints. Keep your problems private, focus on solutions, and let your success be the loudest thing about you. Not everyone who listens to your problems has your best interests at heart. While it might feel comforting to share your struggles, believing that others will sympathize or offer help, the truth is that people interpret information through their own perspectives, motivations, and emotions. Some will genuinely care, but many will use what you share against you in ways you never anticipated. When you openly discuss your difficulties, you risk giving others leverage over you, whether they use it to judge, manipulate, or undermine you. People are naturally wired to form opinions based on the information they receive. If you constantly talk about what is going wrong in your life, others will associate you with negativity and hardship. Even if they do not intend to, they may start seeing you as weak, incapable, or as someone who always has a problem. This can affect not only personal relationships, but also professional opportunities. Employers, colleagues, and acquaintances often remember what they hear most frequently. If they consistently hear about your struggles, they may subconsciously doubt your ability to handle responsibilities, make sound decisions, or lead with confidence. Beyond judgment, there is also the danger of misinterpretation. When you share your struggles, people filter your words through their own experiences, biases, and emotions. They may twist your words, either intentionally or unintentionally, creating narratives that do not truly reflect your reality. What you meant as a simple expression of frustration may be exaggerated into a story of failure. What you intended as a minor complaint may be perceived as a deep character flaw. Information spreads, and before you know it, your personal struggles have become public knowledge, often in distorted ways. Some individuals thrive on the misfortune of others. There are people who, rather than offering support, secretly take pleasure in knowing that others are struggling. They may pretend to be concerned, but deep down they feel validated by your hardships. This is why it is essential to be selective about whom you confide in. Not everyone clapping for you is rooting for your success. Some are simply waiting for an opportunity to see you stumble. By keeping your struggles private, you deny these individuals the satisfaction of knowing your weaknesses. Constantly talking about your problems shifts your own mindset into a place of victimhood. When you repeatedly verbalize your struggles, you reinforce them in your mind, making them feel more permanent and overwhelming. Words have power. What you speak about regularly becomes your reality. If you continue to tell the story of struggle, you train your mind to believe that struggle is your identity. Instead of seeing possibilities, you see obstacles. Instead of focusing on solutions, you dwell on the problem. The more you talk about hardships, the deeper they root themselves in your consciousness. A better approach is to direct your energy towards progress. Every moment spent discussing problems with the wrong people is a moment taken away from finding solutions. Instead of seeking validation or sympathy, focus on actionable steps. Move in silence, strategize privately, and let your results speak louder than your struggles. There is immense power in quietly working through difficulties and emerging stronger on the other side. People will not remember your complaints, but they will remember your achievements. Another danger of sharing too much is the influence of negativity. When you open up about your struggles, you invite opinions, and not all of them will be helpful. Some people will project their own fears and doubts onto you, discouraging you rather than empowering you. Instead of uplifting advice, you might receive words that create even more self-doubt. Maybe this isn't meant for you. That sounds really difficult. Are you sure you can handle it? I know someone who went through the same thing and it didn't end well. These words, even if spoken with good intentions, can plant seeds of fear in your mind. When you keep your struggles private, you protect yourself from external negativity. You maintain control over your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Instead of being influenced by the doubts of others, you develop inner strength and self-reliance. You learn to trust your instincts, rely on your abilities, and push through difficulties without the unnecessary weight of external opinions. Privacy builds resilience. When you handle your problems without seeking constant reassurance, you develop the ability to stand firm in adversity. You cultivate a mindset of perseverance and mental toughness. Instead of depending on external support to get through challenges, you build the internal discipline to navigate them on your own. This does not mean you should never seek guidance, but it does mean that you should be intentional about whom you turn to. Only share with those who have the wisdom, experience, and genuine concern to offer meaningful support. One of the greatest advantages of maintaining discretion about your struggles is that it allows you to control the narrative of your life. When you keep things private, you decide how you are perceived. People do not see you as someone constantly dealing with problems. They see you as someone who is composed, strong, and in control. Your reputation is built on your achievements, not your hardships. And when you do overcome challenges, your success will be the only story that needs to be told. There's also a deeper spiritual aspect to this principle. In moments of struggle, the best source of guidance and support often comes from within, from faith, from personal reflection, and from direct action. Seeking external validation may provide temporary relief, but true growth happens in solitude. Many of the world's most successful individuals have faced great challenges in silence, using those struggles to build unshakable strength. They did not broadcast their difficulties. They worked through them and let their accomplishments do the talking. You do not need to prove your struggles to the world to validate your journey. You do not need sympathy to move forward. What you need is focus, discipline, and the belief that you have everything within you to overcome. When you resist the urge to share every hardship, you gain control over your energy, your mindset, and your future. The less you explain your struggles, the more time you have to create solutions. The less you seek external approval, the stronger your internal confidence becomes. People may speculate, they may wonder, they may assume, but that is their concern, not yours. Your journey is yours alone, and your struggles do not define you. What defines you is how you rise above them. So hold your head high, work in silence, and let your success be the only thing the world needs to see. There is power in silence, and sometimes the best way to overcome your challenges is to face them without announcing them to the world. When you constantly talk about your struggles, you unknowingly give them more energy and weight in your life. Every time you repeat your problems to someone else, you relive them, reinforcing the emotional burden they carry. Words shape your reality. And when you speak too much about your difficulties, they begin to define your identity. Instead of seeing yourself as a person capable of overcoming obstacles, you start identifying with the struggle itself, making it harder to break free from it. Many people believe that sharing their problems will bring them relief, but in reality, it often does the opposite. The more you share, the more you expose yourself to unnecessary opinions, judgments, and even negativity. Not everyone listening to your struggles has your best interests at heart. Some will pretend to care, but deep down they are either indifferent or secretly pleased to hear that you are struggling. Others might even use your vulnerability against you when the time is right. By keeping your struggles private, you protect yourself from unnecessary drama and manipulation. Another important reason to keep your problems to yourself is that most people do not truly understand your situation. They may offer advice, but their advice is often based on their own experiences, biases, and assumptions, not your reality. What worked for them may not work for you, and what they think you should do might not be in alignment with your personal journey. By constantly seeking external validation or solutions from others, you risk losing touch with your own intuition and wisdom. The answers you seek are often within you, and the more you trust yourself, the stronger and more independent you become. Sharing your problems also shifts the focus from solutions to sympathy. Instead of taking action to change your circumstances, you may find yourself stuck in a cycle of seeking comfort from others. While it feels good to have someone listen and sympathize, sympathy does not solve problems. It only temporarily soothes the emotional pain. Real change comes from action, not from repeatedly telling your story to anyone who will listen. The most successful individuals in life are not those who constantly discuss their struggles, but those who work through them quietly and emerge stronger on the other side. Another reason to avoid sharing too much is that people remember what you tell them. If you continuously talk about your problems, that is how people will perceive you. They will associate you with struggle, hardship, and negativity. Instead of seeing you as someone strong, resilient, and capable, they will see you as someone who is always dealing with problems. This can affect how they treat you, the opportunities they offer, and even the level of respect they have for you. People admire strength, not victimhood. By keeping your struggles private, you maintain control over your image and reputation. It is also important to recognize that not everyone who listens to your problems is equipped to help you. Some people might mean well, but they lack the wisdom, experience, or emotional intelligence to provide real support. Others may unintentionally discourage you by projecting their own fears and limitations onto you. Instead of lifting you up, they might make you doubt yourself even more. This is why it is essential to be selective about whom you confide in. Not everyone deserves access to your struggles. If you must seek guidance, choose mentors, professionals, or trusted individuals who have the knowledge and emotional maturity to genuinely help you. Beyond protecting yourself from negative opinions and unhelpful advice, keeping your struggles to yourself allows you to focus on solutions. The energy you spend talking about your problems can be redirected toward problem solving. Instead of seeking validation, you can channel that energy into developing a strategy, taking action, and making real progress. Silence does not mean suffering alone. It means being intentional about where you place your energy. The more you focus on solutions rather than problems, the faster you will find a way forward. Silence also builds resilience. When you learn to handle challenges without constantly seeking reassurance from others, you develop mental and emotional strength. You become more self-reliant and learn to trust yourself in difficult situations. This does not mean you should never seek help, but it does mean that you should cultivate the ability to stand firm in adversity. The strongest people are not those who rely on constant external support, but those who develop inner fortitude and confidence in their ability to navigate life's challenges. Keeping your struggles private allows you to surprise people with your success. Instead of broadcasting your difficulties, you can work on yourself quietly and let your progress speak for itself. There is something powerful about moving in silence and letting results do the talking. When you overcome challenges without announcing them, people are left wondering how you did it. You maintain an aura of strength, mystery, and control. You do not owe the world an explanation of your struggles, but when you rise above them, the impact of your success will be undeniable. There is a spiritual aspect to maintaining silence about your problems. Many great thinkers and spiritual leaders have emphasized the importance of internal reflection and personal growth. When you keep your struggles private, you create space for deep introspection, prayer, and self-discovery. You learn to rely on your inner strength and faith rather than the fleeting comfort of external validation. True wisdom comes from within, and the more you cultivate a strong, silent resolve, the more clarity and strength you will gain. Your struggles do not define you, your ability to rise above them does. By keeping your problems to yourself, you protect your energy, maintain control over your image, and focus on real solutions. You build resilience, develop independence, and create an aura of quiet strength that commands respect. The less you speak about your struggles, the more time you have to overcome them. Let your actions speak louder than your words, and let your success be the only response the world needs to see. When you constantly talk about your problems, you unconsciously hand over your power to them. Every time you share your struggles with others, you give them more weight and allow them to take up more space in your mind. The more you dwell on them, the bigger they seem. And instead of finding solutions, you end up trapped in a cycle of negativity. Problems grow when they are constantly spoken about because words have energy. They reinforce thoughts and emotions, making them feel more real and overwhelming. Instead of discussing your difficulties with everyone, it is more productive to channel that energy into finding solutions. People who frequently talk about their problems often believe that speaking about them will help them feel better. While venting may provide temporary relief, it does not fix anything. Instead, it reinforces the problem, making it more deeply rooted in your consciousness. Over time, you start identifying with your struggles rather than seeing yourself as someone capable of overcoming them. This is a dangerous mindset because it keeps you stuck. Growth requires focus on progress, not on what is holding you back. The more you talk about your issues, the more you invite them to stay in your life. Another reason to avoid excessive sharing is that not everyone is capable of handling your problems with care. Some people may pretend to be interested, but they are merely gathering information. Others may use your struggles against you at a later time, either by gossiping about you or manipulating your situation for their own benefit. There are people who thrive on hearing about the difficulties of others because it makes them feel better about their own lives. When you share your struggles openly, you risk becoming a source of entertainment or gossip rather than finding real support. Even those who genuinely care about you may not always offer the right kind of help. Most people give advice based on their own experiences, beliefs, and biases. What worked for them may not be suitable for you. And following their suggestions blindly can lead you in the wrong direction. Sometimes well-meaning friends and family members may unintentionally discourage you, projecting their own fears and insecurities onto you. Instead of empowering you, their words may plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making it harder for you to move forward with confidence. Keeping your problems to yourself allows you to process them more effectively. When you resist the urge to talk about them repeatedly, you give yourself the space to reflect and analyze the situation with a clear mind. You can ask yourself important questions. What is the real issue here? What are the possible solutions? How can I take control of this situation? This kind of self-reflection leads to personal growth and a deeper understanding of your own strengths. Silence forces you to rely on your own wisdom rather than seeking validation or reassurance from others. Moreover, talking about your problems too much can make you dependent on external comfort rather than internal strength. The more you rely on others to listen, the more you condition yourself to seek sympathy instead of solutions. Life rewards those who take action, not those who dwell on their difficulties. Successful people are not the ones who constantly complain about their hardships. They are the ones who silently work through them and emerge stronger. They understand that true resilience is built by facing challenges head-on without seeking unnecessary attention or approval. Silence is a powerful tool for regaining control over your emotions. When you stop verbalizing your problems to everyone, you reduce their grip on your mind. You start seeing them for what they really are, temporary obstacles that can be overcome. Instead of reinforcing negativity, you shift your energy toward progress. Every challenge has a solution, but you will never find it if you are too busy talking about the problem itself. Focusing on the problem magnifies it, while focusing on the solution diminishes its power over you. Another benefit of keeping your struggles private is that it prevents you from being perceived as someone who is always struggling. If you constantly share your difficulties, people begin to associate you with problems rather than strength. Over time, they may stop taking you seriously, seeing you as someone who always has an issue rather than someone capable of achieving great things. By keeping your struggles to yourself, you maintain control over your image and how others perceive you. People respect those who handle challenges with quiet determination rather than those who constantly seek attention through their hardships. Silence also gives you the element of surprise. When you do not announce your struggles to the world, people do not expect your success. Instead of broadcasting every difficulty, you quietly work towards solutions and let your progress speak for itself. There is nothing more powerful than overcoming a challenge and having people wonder how you did it. Moving in silence allows you to control your narrative. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your struggles, but your success will be undeniable when you rise above them. There's great spiritual and mental strength in keeping your problems private. Many spiritual traditions teach the value of inner reflection and resilience. By not speaking about every hardship, you give yourself the space to connect with a higher purpose and tap into your own wisdom. True power comes from within, not from external validation. When you cultivate inner strength, you develop the confidence to face any challenge without seeking approval or reassurance from others. Your energy becomes focused, your mind becomes clear, and your ability to overcome obstacles increases. Your struggles do not define you. Your response to them does. Keeping your problems to yourself does not mean suffering in silence. It means being intentional about where you direct your energy. Instead of wasting time seeking sympathy, you use that time to build solutions. Instead of reinforcing negativity by talking about your issues, you empower yourself by focusing on progress. The strongest people are not those who announce their problems to the world, but those who handle them with quiet resilience and emerge victorious. Let your actions speak louder than your words, and let your success be the only answer the world needs to see. When you constantly talk about your problems, you invite negativity into your life. Every time you speak about your struggles, you relive them, reinforcing the emotions attached to them. Words have immense power. And by continuously vocalizing your difficulties, you unintentionally program your mind to focus on what is wrong rather than what can be done to make things right. Instead of moving forward, you keep yourself trapped in a cycle of frustration, pain, and self-pity. The more you repeat your problems, the more they become part of your identity, making it harder for you to see beyond them. Talking excessively about your problems also gives others control over your narrative. The moment you share your difficulties with people, you allow them to form opinions about you based on your struggles rather than your strengths. Some may offer kind words and sympathy, but many will judge you, pity you, or even look down on you. Instead of seeing you as someone capable and resilient, they may start perceiving you as weak, helpless, or always in distress. People remember what you tell them. And if your words are filled with complaints and problems, that is how they will see you. Not everyone who listens to your problems has your best interests at heart. Some people may act as though they care, but deep down they enjoy hearing about your struggles. They use your hardships as a way to make themselves feel superior. Others may take advantage of your vulnerability, using the information you share against you when the opportunity arises. When you tell people about your struggles, you give them insight into your weaknesses, and not everyone will handle that knowledge with kindness. Sharing your problems also opens the door for unnecessary opinions and advice. While some advice may be helpful, a lot of it is based on the personal experiences, fears, and biases of others. People give advice based on their own limitations and beliefs, not necessarily on what is best for you. When you take advice from too many people, you may become confused, doubting your own ability to make the right decisions. Instead of finding clarity, you end up with even more uncertainty, making it harder for you to move forward with confidence. By keeping your problems to yourself, you cultivate inner strength. When you stop seeking validation or sympathy from others, you learn to rely on your own wisdom and intuition. You start thinking critically, analyzing your situation with a clear mind rather than being influenced by external opinions. This self-reliance is crucial for growth and success. The most successful individuals are those who handle their challenges with quiet determination, focusing on solutions rather than broadcasting their difficulties to the world. Silence allows you to process your problems more effectively. When you stop talking about them, you give yourself the space to reflect, strategize, and find solutions without interference. You start asking yourself the right questions. What can I do to change this situation? How can I grow from this challenge? What lessons can I learn? Instead of wasting energy explaining your struggles to others, you use that energy to work toward a resolution. Action, not discussion, is what leads to change. Constantly speaking about your struggles can also make you emotionally dependent on external support. The more you rely on others to listen, comfort, or advise you, the less you develop your own resilience. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when no one is available to offer you the reassurance you seek. If you are used to discussing your problems with others, you may feel lost or overwhelmed when you have to face challenges alone. However, if you have already developed the habit of handling your struggles internally, you will be better prepared to navigate difficult situations independently. Another reason to keep your problems to yourself is that people generally prefer to be around those who bring positivity, inspiration, and solutions rather than constant complaints. While it is natural to seek support from loved ones occasionally, if you are always talking about your struggles, people may start avoiding you. No one wants to be around someone who constantly drains their energy with negativity. The more you discuss your difficulties, the more you push people away, leaving you feeling even more isolated. On the other hand, when you focus on growth and solutions, people are drawn to your strength and resilience. Keeping your problems private also allows you to maintain control over your personal journey. When you share your struggles, you invite external influence, whether it be opinions, judgment, or unwanted advice. This can sometimes cause you to second-guess yourself, lose confidence, or make decisions based on what others think rather than what truly aligns with your goals. By staying silent and focusing on your own path, you make choices that are best for you without unnecessary interference. Additionally, overcoming challenges in silence gives you the element of surprise. When people do not know what you are struggling with, they do not see your weaknesses. Then, when you succeed, your growth and achievement speaks than something incredibly powerful about quietly working through your difficulties and emerging stronger without anyone knowing the battles you have faced. You gain respect not because of the struggles you have shared, but because of the strength and wisdom you demonstrate through your actions. Keeping your problems to yourself does not mean suppressing emotions or avoiding support when truly needed. It means being selective about who you confide in and understanding that not every problem needs to be discussed with others. Growth happens when you learn to handle challenges with quiet strength and focused action. Instead of constantly talking about what is wrong, channel your energy into finding solutions, improving yourself, and moving forward with confidence. The strongest individuals are not those who seek sympathy for their struggles, but those who turn their struggles into fuel for success. Let your actions, not your words, define your journey. When you constantly share your problems with others, you unknowingly give them power over you. The moment you open up about your struggles, you expose your vulnerabilities, allowing people to see the areas where you are most sensitive. While some may offer kind words or a listening ear, others may use your difficulties against you. Not everyone who listens to your problems has your best interests at heart. Some people may pretend to care, but deep down they take pleasure in knowing that you are struggling. They may offer surface-level sympathy while secretly feeling relieved that they are not in your position. Others may go as far as spreading your personal struggles to others, turning your private matters into gossip. The more you talk about your problems, the more you allow them to consume your mind. Every time you speak about a difficult situation, you relive it. You reinforce the emotions tied to that struggle, making it a central part of your thoughts. Instead of focusing on solutions and moving forward, you become trapped in a cycle of frustration, self-pity, and negativity. Your words shape your reality, and by constantly vocalizing your difficulties, you subconsciously keep yourself in the same state of distress. Rather than dwelling on what is wrong, redirect your energy toward finding solutions and taking meaningful action. Sharing your problems with too many people also invites unnecessary advice and opinions. When you tell others about your struggles, they will naturally feel inclined to offer guidance, but not all advice is beneficial. Most people give advice based on their own experiences, fears, and beliefs, which may not align with what is best for you. Some people will tell you to play it safe when you need to take a risk, while others may encourage you to make impulsive decisions that do not serve your long-term goals. Too much external input can lead to confusion, making it difficult for you to trust your own judgment. Instead of seeking constant validation from others, learn to listen to your inner voice and rely on your own wisdom. Keeping your problems to yourself cultivates inner strength and emotional resilience. When you stop seeking external sympathy or reassurance, you teach yourself to navigate challenges with a sense of self-reliance. You develop the ability to analyze your situations objectively, make well-thought-out decisions, and take control of your circumstances without waiting for others to guide you. The strongest individuals are not those who broadcast their struggles to the world, but those who quietly work through their difficulties and emerge stronger on the other side. Another reason to keep your problems private is that people are naturally drawn to those who bring value and positivity into their lives. While it is natural to seek support from loved ones during tough times, if you are always discussing your struggles, you may become emotionally draining to those around you. People appreciate those who uplift, inspire, and contribute positive energy rather than those who constantly complain about their difficulties. If you want to build strong relationships, focus on being a source of motivation rather than a constant reminder of problems. When you radiate strength and optimism, people respect you, admire you, and are more willing to support you when it truly matters. Handling your struggles in silence also gives you an advantage. When people do not know what you are going through, they cannot interfere with your journey. They cannot influence your decisions, manipulate your emotions, or sabotage your progress. You remain in full control of your narrative, allowing you to work on your goals without external distractions. This element of privacy protects you from unnecessary negativity and allows you to move forward at your own pace. There is also a profound sense of accomplishment that comes with overcoming challenges without external validation. When you rely on yourself to solve problems, you build confidence in your ability to handle adversity. You realize that you do not need constant reassurance from others to make progress. This mindset shift transforms the way you approach life, making you more independent and less affected by external circumstances. You stop worrying about what others think, and instead you focus on what truly matters: your growth, your progress, and your well-being. Silence also protects you from unnecessary drama and misunderstandings. The more people you involve in your personal matters, the greater the risk of miscommunication, judgment, or betrayal. Not everyone will interpret your struggles the way you do, and some may twist your words or misrepresent your situation. This can create additional stress and complications that could have been avoided by simply keeping things private. By limiting who you share your problems with, you maintain control over your story and avoid unnecessary complications. In addition, the act of keeping your struggles to yourself forces you to develop problem-solving skills. When you are not constantly venting to others, you are forced to sit with your thoughts and figure out ways to improve your situation. You become more strategic, learning how to navigate difficulties without relying on external validation. This self-reliance is a powerful tool that will serve you in every aspect of life. The ability to stay calm under pressure, think critically, and find solutions without seeking constant input from others is a trait that sets successful individuals apart. Keeping your problems to yourself is not about suppressing emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It is about being selective about who you confide in and understanding that not every issue needs to be shared with others. Some struggles are meant to be worked through privately, allowing you to grow stronger without external interference. When you handle your difficulties with quiet determination, you gain the respect of those around you. People admire those who face challenges with grace and strength rather than those who constantly seek attention through their struggles. Instead of telling people your problems, show them your resilience. Let your actions demonstrate your strength, perseverance, and ability to overcome obstacles. Speak less about your struggles and more about your victories. Focus on progress rather than problems. When you cultivate a mindset of silent strength, you become unstoppable. Your journey becomes one of quiet determination, powerful growth, and undeniable success. Let your success speak for itself and watch how your life transforms. There is a certain power in silence, a strength that comes from keeping your personal struggles to yourself. When you constantly share your problems with others, you open yourself up to unnecessary judgment, criticism, and even manipulation. Not everyone who listens to your problems has good intentions. Some may pretend to be supportive while secretly taking pleasure in your difficulties. Others may use your vulnerabilities against you, either by spreading gossip or subtly undermining your confidence. The moment you share your problems, you give people access to your weaknesses, and not everyone deserves that level of insight into your life. Your mind is a powerful tool, and the way you process your challenges determines how quickly you can overcome them. When you speak too much about your problems, you reinforce their presence in your mind. Instead of focusing on solutions, you keep revisiting the negative emotions attached to your struggles. Every conversation about your difficulties becomes another opportunity to dwell on what is wrong, which can keep you stuck in a cycle of frustration and hopelessness. The more you talk about a problem, the more power you give it. But when you choose to handle things internally, you take control of your emotions and your mental state, allowing yourself to approach challenges with clarity and strength. Another reason to keep your problems to yourself is that people are not always capable of understanding what you are going through. Everyone sees life through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences, fears, and biases. When you share your struggles, you invite advice that may not be useful or relevant to your situation. Some people will project their own insecurities onto you, telling you to settle when you need to push forward. Others may tell you to take reckless risks when you actually need patience and strategy. Too many opinions can create confusion, making it difficult to trust your own instincts. But when you rely on yourself, you strengthen your ability to think critically and make decisions based on what truly works for you. Privacy is a form of self-protection. When you keep your challenges to yourself, you maintain control over your emotions and your actions. No one can use your struggles against you if they do not know what you are going through. You prevent unnecessary drama, misunderstandings, and external influences that could complicate your situation. In contrast, when too many people know about your personal problems, you risk being influenced by their reactions. Some may offer false sympathy. Others may judge you, and a few may even sabotage you in subtle ways. Keeping your problems private allows you to focus on overcoming them without the added pressure of external opinions. Emotional strength is built in solitude. When you stop seeking external validation or sympathy, you learn to navigate difficulties with inner resilience. Instead of looking for someone to comfort you, you train yourself to find solutions. This self-reliance is what separates those who move forward in life from those who remain stuck. The strongest individuals are not the ones who announce their struggles to the world, but those who quietly work through them and emerge wiser and more capable. Every challenge you overcome in silence builds your confidence and deepens your trust in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. There is also an undeniable energy shift that happens when you stop talking about your problems and start focusing on solutions. Words carry power, and when you continuously speak about difficulties, you reinforce their hold on you. But when you shift your focus to progress, your entire mindset changes. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start taking action rather than seeking pity. Instead of feeding the problem with words, you starve it by refusing to give it unnecessary attention. This approach accelerates your growth and allows you to move forward much faster than if you were constantly reliving the problem through conversation. Another key reason to stay silent about your struggles is that people respect those who appear composed and in control. If you're always sharing your difficulties, you risk being seen as someone who is overwhelmed by life, someone who cannot handle pressure. On the other hand, when you maintain a sense of calm and focus, people view you as strong, capable, and trustworthy. They admire your ability to remain composed even in difficult times. This perception not only strengthens your personal relationships, but also enhances your professional and social standing. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence and self-sufficiency. Your energy is precious, and where you direct it matters. When you constantly talk about your struggles, you drain your own energy as well as the energy of those around you. Instead of inspiring others, you may end up making them feel emotionally exhausted. Relationships thrive when they are built on mutual support and positivity. While it is okay to seek guidance from a trusted few, constantly burdening others with your problems can push them away. People want to be around those who uplift them, not those who always bring negativity into conversations. When you focus on solutions rather than complaints, you strengthen your relationships and create a more positive environment for yourself and those around you. Handling your struggles in silence gives you an advantage. When no one knows what you are going through, they cannot interfere with your journey. They cannot influence your decisions, manipulate your emotions, or create obstacles for you. You retain full control over your actions and your path forward. This level of privacy allows you to move strategically, making progress without unnecessary distractions. The less people know about your difficulties, the more power you have over your own life. At the end of the day, strength is not about how many people know your struggles, but about how well you handle them on your own. True resilience is built in moments of quiet perseverance, when you face your challenges head-on without seeking external validation. Instead of telling people your problems, let your actions speak. Let your growth, your progress, and your success be the only evidence of what you have overcome. Speak less about difficulties and more about victories. When you master the art of silent strength, you become unstoppable. Your journey becomes one of quiet determination, steady growth, and undeniable achievement. Keep your struggles to yourself, focus on solutions, and watch how your life transforms.